Alright, I've had a few folks ask about my frame building jig lately. So I had a video on my old channel. Just go ahead and make a new one for this new channel so y'all have to try to sort around. It's nothing complicated. I use a sheet of just 1/4 inch Luan as a base. And then my box here, you can see I've got holes cut for the supports to slide through. This thing's real rickety. I've had to glue it and re-nail it a dozen times. Just need to build a little better one, but I built it to this size so that I can do mediums or deeps. Today we're going to be doing deeps. Coming over here to the side, I can't know if you guys can see it in the pan or not, but I've got all my frame end bars. So we'll go through and put in all my frame end bars. And this thing, like I said, I know it's not perfect. I'm sure there's a better way. This is just one I got off of somebody else's YouTube a while back, and I built it back then. And well, it's like anything else. It keeps working, so I'll keep using it. I know there could be something better out there. Kind of like that V-back, you know, I fought with a crappy one for years, and it really slowed me down. So, get all your elbows in. I use Titebond 3 exterior grade glue. We're going to put a little dab of glue on both sides on the inside of each dog ear. Now this is very important to glue them. I feel it's very important. Now these are going to be in the hive, so really you probably don't need exterior, but a lot of times I end up leaving frames sit out on the hive rest, or they end up hanging out in the yard or something like that. So a little bit of glue on each one never hurts. And my end bars, this is where I appear to slow down because these are a good tight fit. So I'll do all the ends away from me first just because it's kind of easier to control. And I found I can do, you know, one side faster. I can do one side and then come back and do the other side faster, then I can try to do both sides at the same time. And that's what I got to figure out how to get these things to not wiggle around so much, because they fall back and forth and kind of give me fits. Get all those set. Come back and do this end. Once you get the bars on, you can kind of stand them back up easy. Whoops. Well, I made a fool out of that one, didn't I? Y'all are going to think this is stupid. And I feel like I waste a lot of time with this thing. Really, like I'm sitting here fighting with it. I feel like it takes me longer to do this than it does to do one frame at a time, freehand, but it doesn't. I've timed it before. Trying to do one frame at a time takes me 30 seconds almost per frame. Alright, got all those in? Nail gun time. 1.5 inches, 5/30 seconds. Okay, now that the air compressor has shut itself back it's on. So here's the fun part. Shake them all down, flip it over. May you wonder why I was using the 1/4 inch Luan. That right there is why, because I'm working on my table saw and I have these grooves in my table saw for tools to lock into, and it makes for an uneven surface if you're trying to nail up 10 frames at a time. So the Luan works for that, but also it works if I had a full 10 frame box to put these into. When I'm done, I'll show you how I pull this slide out and how a 10 frame box would slide right over the top of it. I originally built it for doing 10 frames. Maybe I should build, I run so many 5 frames now, maybe I should build a 5 frame nail up jig. As many 5 frames as I like to run. Because what I'm actually doing here today is building 10 frames at a time, but then I'm putting them into 5 frame boxes. I guess if you're going to go to the effort of setting up a nailing run, you might as well set up 10 instead of just 5 each time. Get all those in. Again, on your bottoms, sometimes they'll kind of splay apart, so make sure your bottoms are in and then kind of go along the edge here and push them together. Make sure they're all pushed in. Glue on the bottoms isn't as important because when you're working your hive, you rarely pry on the bottom bar. Nail time. Oh, come on. One nail shy. Probably should have done a few more rounds before I filmed it. Y'all probably think I look like a rookie, especially when I'm trying to load my nail gun. A little rusty this morning. Okay, so at this point I'd be done nailing up. So what I do now is take my end bars, slide these out, and then you can shake the whole frame up off of it, and you're left with 10 pretty frames standing there. Ideally, except they get stuck and caught because, like I said, because things worn out, it's got nails sticking out everywhere. So at this point, I can take a 10 frame deep, flip it upside down on top of all 10 frames, and then grab the piece of glue on it. I flip it back over, so all 10 frames in the box, boom, done. Now I'm not doing that here because I'm running 5 frames, but I can still show you. So the 10 frame would sit on like this. We'll do 5. Kind of knock them over to the side here. And it still kind of works. There you go. 5 pretty frames in the box. So I nail up all the frames, put them into the boxes, I nail them up just to stay organized. And then I'll come back through whenever I decide to put foundation in them, depending on what sort of foundation I decide to run. Whether I run snap in or glue in wax strips. But yeah, there you go. So there's my little frame jig. Like I said, it probably seemed slow and clumsy watching me do it. All in there, it took me about 6.5 minutes, I think, 7 minutes to show you guys all that and explain all that. Normally I can do about 10 frames in 5 minutes. So you figure 30 seconds per frame. Then that would mean I could do 120 frames in an hour and save myself $1 per frame to pay somebody else to assemble them, so I'll take that. Anyway, frame assembly jig, nothing fancy, but just thought I'd show it to y'all again.